Hello. In order to keep myself from going crazy, I went ahead and built my own Linux box, which will have all of the software that you will need throughout this entire course. Right now I have Eclipse open, and that's down here. Here's our little taskbar. And we're going to create an XML document. Now, by default, Eclipse doesn't have this capability, but the great thing about Eclipse, when you go to Help and you go to Install New Software, it's going to take a while for it to load up, but it gives you access to a tremendous variety of software. And I usually hide things that are already installed. So, we have PHP, that is up and running. I got that up going for you. You got MySQL, you got a MySQL workbench. There's all sorts of goodies inside of this development box. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new XML file. And it's going to ask what do you want to name it, and hold on, I got to go do something first. Silly me. I'm going to go to here, this is the files, and underneath downloads, I have the documents. You also get a free version of a lot of the Microsoft software. Anyway, blah, 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 garbage, 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 not garbage. Okay. So, let's see what we're supposed to do here. It wants us to create a new XML file, which is called nnrestaurants.xml, where NN stands for your initials. Alrighty. So my initials are MS, and then NN restaurants. Where NN is your name, so restaurants.xml. So here we go. Here's our XML file. Let's get rid of that. To change your views, when you go to show view right here, this gives you all the different ways you can look at things, and you can also open a perspective. That's what we want. We want the XML perspective because we're working with XML. So the only thing we have going on right now is the UTF encoding, and that's about it. Back to my file explorer, go to XML, inside of public, inside of XML. I haven't saved it. Or have I? Excuse me, that's under private. Right here. And it doesn't like it so far, but that's okay. We would hardly be surprised about that. But we are going to want to actually cut this out of here. Actually, right here, we can just grab it and pull it into the public directory, because really I want it to be publicly viewable. To view this publicly, I've configured a little virtual host, which will give us http xml.dev. There we go. And then if we go to XML, and then msrestaurants.xml, there it is. Now it's telling us that we have an error because we haven't done anything yet, but, you know, hardly not to be expected at this point. So let's inspect our element, and there it is. We got a parse error, and we got some source text, which is just that. So, what's up next? So then it says, let me get rid of some of this stuff that's starting to clutter up our interface here. It says to add your name as a comment beneath the XML declaration. To do that, right-click here. You can either add before or after comment. And the content of that comment is your name. You're seeing right here we're building up our little XML schema. So then from there, we're going to add a root element called restaurant. So add after, new element. This is restaurants. And then from there, we're going to add a right-click on this guy and make sure you do that. So that way it knows that you want to create a new element as a child of that, which is restaurant. Then we're going to create these attributes. Right-click, add attribute, name, and that name is equal to, let's move some stuff around, there we go. Now it's looking better. Little cabin in. Then we go back up here and we add another attribute, and this attribute is quality rating of 3. And then we go back up here and we add yet another attribute, this one being price rating. And the value of that is 2. clicking a little too fast. Just click once and it'll go into edit mode. Add a child element named location to the restaurant. So now, add a child, new element. This is location. And then add the following child element to the location. That's address. Okay, so in order to get through this part, I think that what it wants me to do, and by the way, just so you know, this is how you normally indent these things so it's easy to understand what opens and what closed. So it says it wants me to have an address element, which is a child of the location element, and it says it wants this value to be 10 Main Street. Then it wants me to have a city, and inside that city it wants that value to be Chicago. And then inside a state it wants me to have a value of Illinois, like so. Now in order to get to that, I just went to my file browser, which the XML public directory is right here, then XML, so there to there. And then I right-clicked on this and opened it up with Genie. So that's that. Yep. So now we have our location and we have our child elements with their values inside of them. Next, it wants us to add a child named phone number to the restaurant element. So that's this. Add a child. This will be a new element. Oops, not that. Restaurant, add child, new element called phone number. Let me once again shrink some of this stuff down, so I only got so much screen real estate for this. And really, out of all this, this is really not that necessary, so let's cancel out of there, try to collapse that down. There we go. Now I get just a little more space. Now let's pull this in just a little bit and pull that over. Alright, so now it wants me to add phone number to the restaurant, I think. Phone number to the restaurant, yep. Add child, new element. Phone number. Now that's down there. Add a child element named menu to the restaurant. And then add a child element menu item to the menu. Set its value to hamburger. And then add the following attributes to my hamburger. Price, $4.95. Calories, 450, and is vegetarian. Set that equal to false. Add another menu item. This one having a value of fruit salad. Then add childs to it. Oops. Add attributes, excuse me, of price, $5.50. Apparently my is vegetarian didn't stick. New attribute. There we go. Price $5.50. Calories of 450. And is vegetarian, we'll set that to false. Or actually true. And save it. Open that, go to Projects Lab 1, and then see if it looks like this. Let's find out. So here we can open it up with Firefox, and it pretty much works. The only thing missing is, I don't know if it's actually missing, I think it's just hidden there. Let me see. Yeah, it's there. It's just hidden. Let's view the page source. There we are. So the page source shows that we have the encoding, we have the name, restaurants, Little Iron Cabin, blah 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 blah. And wonderful. So this is at the end of the first lab, what your stuff should look like.